If you didn't get a chance to check out Monday's ID at Xbox Showcase, have no fear. We're going to talk about the best of what was shown off there.
And Bethesda's Todd Howard recently gave an interview talking about Fallout, Starfield, and what's next for the developer. We're going to talk about all this stuff and so much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we bring you everything that's happening in the video game industry. You can find us on Fruit Lab, YouTube, podcast services everywhere. My name is Erect the Red. As always, I am joined by this gentleman right here. Full clip. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, not a whole lot. How's it going?
Oh man, it's good. You know, we're heading into summer. I'm getting some summer vibes. You know, it's feeling real nice. It's not stopping the amount of video games I'm playing, but you know, it makes me feel happier.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm having a little more trouble finding time for playing new games and stuff, or well, maybe I'm just happy with the ones I've got because I've been playing a lot more Cornucopia and a lot more Hell Let Loose. Said so much about those already, so I'll just talk about an upcoming review copy that I have for Farmer's Life Pimp My Shack DLC.
Oh, dude. Let me tell you. Let me interrupt you by saying your playthrough of Farmer's Life was one of my favorite videos that you made. It was such a ridiculous game and like so strange. I loved it. I'm excited to watch you pimp your tractor or whatever you do in this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And I think as we talked briefly about this DLC before, this is by Playway SA and Free Minds SA, and I think those are the same developers behind, was it House Flipper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they for some reason have like a little bit of trade-off here where House Flipper parts and pieces and walls and things like that, the system is going to be imported over into Farmer's Life for this DLC.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. And I'm hoping, you know, maybe we'll get some pressure washers down the line, maybe some pool simulator pieces.
Yeah, they just got to just start sharing everything. So like, then you can start farming in House Flipper. And it's just like this big world where like, everything is simulated. I like it. I'm looking forward to that. I have that game and I haven't tried it yet. Farmer's Life. I keep meaning to, but there's so much on my plate. What have I been playing? I've been playing a couple of our new releases. I'll save that until we hit that category. One thing I do want to talk about, I got a demo of the Rogue Prince of Persia, the new Prince of Persia roguelike game coming out. And it was it's like a couple levels from kind of the middle of the game. So, you know, you could explore your powers and stuff like that. And it was awesome, dude. I'll just come right out and say it was great. It's got me definitely, I put the game on my wish list right after that. It's harder than I thought. It's more precision platforming and combined with like a side-scrolling kind of beat 'em up type thing. So you've got these abilities and you chain your attacks together. Like one of the things you get is like if you when you kick somebody, it like pushes them back. If you kick them into another person, they're both stunned. So you use that to then maybe go to the next person and attack them. If you have an ability where you kick someone into a wall and it starts them on fire somehow. So like then you could play off of that, like because then you could get like abilities that harm them more. Like you get weapons that like attack more if the person's on fire and stuff like that. So you have to like really think about your build and like what kind of character you want to play, what kind of damage you want to do. And it's way more thought out and detailed than I expected going into it after playing the Prince of Persia recent like Metroidvania, which is more about exploration, Metroidvania, and getting a few new skills here and there. This one, you really have like a build that you want to work towards, at least from what I've seen in the 2 hours that I played it. But I'm sold on it. It's a fantastic game. Comes out later this month. I think like the 14th, May 14th. So May the 14th be with you. That's what I always say.
There you go. Yeah, I saw you
Yeah.
uploaded your gameplay of that,
hmm
and it's you were playing it on the Steam Deck. I didn't realize the Steam Deck had like screen cap.
Yeah, so it doesn't. There is a thing you could load into it called Decky, and it provides you
Oh,
with all these plugins. Amazing things. So there's all plugins for how long to beat. So it just puts that right on there. Every single game, it takes the information from how long to beat, tells you how long you're going to play it. There's plugins to increase the vibrancy of the game. There's plugins to do the recording, which works fantastic. Um, yeah, and then you just take that file and you just put it wherever you want. There's so many great plugins on this Decky. If you've got a Steam Deck, check out Decky, and yeah, there's all sorts of great stuff on there. Definitely worth getting. But yeah, if you on the YouTube Pop Culture Playground, you could find the first half hour of the gameplay on there, played all on Steam Deck, so you can see if it's jittery, if it's and I'll spoiler alert, it plays great. There's a few parts where like during the loading screens where like you see it kind of jump a little bit, but that's it. During the gameplay, smooth as silk, baby.
hmm. Gonna have to get you a little mic pack or something so we can get some
I
commentary on
know
the
that's the
side.
only thing that like when I'm playing all these PC games, like I don't have, I'm just playing handheld, so I don't got a cam or mic or anything like that. It's just like that, and I've done it before when I initially started doing it, where I would just do audio. I would just record audio on either my computer or my phone, and then just sync it, you know. But then it's a lot more,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah, absolutely.
doable if I wanted to put in the effort. But I'm just like, I'm just gonna record this, and it was one button, and I'm recording. So that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Plus, it's gonna be very awkward camera view and sounds if you decide to go play on
I'm
the toilet for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only place I play. So I should just put a built-in camera microphone there. I just pull it down, and I'm just playing.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about this week. Let's get into our new releases from last week. All right, first up, not necessarily a new release. Sea of Thieves came to PlayStation 5. So this is like the second, I believe, of the maybe third of the Xbox games that are owned by Microsoft, by Xbox, that are have been transferred over to the PlayStation 5. We had Hi-Fi Rush earlier this year, and now the big one, Sea of Thieves. This is this was their ace in the hole. This was the big game for a while. Pirate game. We all know what Sea of Thieves is. I don't got to tell you about it. You're out there, you're sailing the seven seas with your friends. I've been playing this a lot, and just doing runs. Have you ever played it? You played it, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we've just been doing like going to islands, getting all this loot, and then going to sell it. Try to like build our bankroll and try to
Yeah.
avoid other players along the way. I don't like. There's other quests you can do. To I don't know what you get from the quest, but we've just been doing the treasure ones over and over. And like we'll see like a ship way off in the distance, and it's just me and my buddy on our little tiny boat, and we're like, we got to go this way. Let's avoid them. So it's just been that avoiding people and cashing in some loot. But it's been a blast, and I'm like, how have I? This is what they've been holding this back from us. This is why exclusivity is bull. I want to play this
Right.
whenever,
Yeah,
wherever.
it's a great game. My buddy and I mean, there are a lot of nice people who play the game who aren't just out for blood, but there definitely are some. Me and my buddy, after we went and got some loot off of an island, we were working our way back to the port to go sell it. We ended up coming across this crew of four on their big ship, and they were friendly. So we're just playing instruments. Have you done that yet?
Yes,
It'll sync
yes.
everybody's instruments up and stuff like that. So we're doing that, unaware that like something that happened to us on the way there had put a hole in our boat. So we're slowly sinking, and we say goodbye to these people. And within about the next minute and a half, our boat's going underwater.
Oh, and you're just playing. It's like the Titanic. You're just playing instruments
Yes.
as the boat sinks. Yeah, I'm definitely very skeptical. The first time that we played it, we we found these people that were like, hey, they called us on like there's like a megaphone that like you can
Yeah.
yell into. So they're calling us. They're like, hey guys, we've got all this stuff. We're about to leave the server. Do you want it? And we're like, I don't know. This is not. This seems fishy. So the whole time they load up, they have all this stuff like treasure chests full of like food and cannonballs and all this stuff, and they load it onto our boat. And then I'm like, I never let my guard down the whole time. I'm like, they're gonna steal our boat because it was a nice boat. It was a boat that like my friend had like, I don't know, worked really hard to get. But it never happened, and they were super nice. And yeah, we just hung out and played instruments. They had played it for many years on Xbox. They showed us the ropes, how to play it, and that sort of thing. And it was great, man. And like those people are like on my friends list now. It was
Nice.
a really cool experience. But yes, this brings along season 12 of the game. So it's got a bunch of new stuff, double barreled pistols, throwing knives. There's like a thing where you could summon skeletons to attack enemies. That's a really cool thing. What else? Oh, you could tightrope across the harpoon wire now to like get into an island. There's a scatter shot bomb, like when you're shoot, like a lot of new cool stuff that they just added in season 12, along with the new battle pass, 100 levels of cosmetics and coins and gold and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I've been enjoying season 12, and it's all new to me. So, but I'm sure that might bring a few people back to the game. Next up, MotoGP 24 came out on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, and Nintendo Switch on May 2nd. This is your motorcycle racing, baby. You know, those guys that like go sideways on their motorcycles really fast and it's scary to watch. You could live that now in a video game. It's got career modes. You could customize and create your own like stickers and helmet and all this cool stuff. And then everything I'm reading about it talks about the AI, this adaptive AI, and it helps to make the races more interesting. Either you're not constantly getting destroyed or you're constantly not blowing them out. So I don't know if it's more like a rubber banding type thing where they're just like, bringing it back and they're like, this is AI now.
Yeah.
But people that have played it from the reviews seem to enjoy it, and it's got crossplay, split screen, all that good stuff. So all you motorcycle heads out there.
And these last gen releases are getting fewer and fewer as we talk about new releases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you always seem to find these, like, specifically these games for many, many years. The sports games, the racing games.
Yeah.
They're the last of the dying breed usually. All right, and last up in my game of the week, Indica came out on PC on May 2nd. It's coming out hopefully this week on console, I believe May 8th, but I haven't seen anything firm about a PlayStation release. I've seen May 8th possibly for Xbox. PlayStation still says soon. But it is a narrative third-person nun game where you play as this nun in the 19th century, and you're walking around. You got to deliver a letter. No one likes you, and you got to solve these puzzles. And it's dark, and it's funny, and it is weird, and it's super smart. Like all the dialogue, and it constantly surprises me from the time I put it in the game to the time when I finished the game. I was being blown away and surprised every new turn. Like it was there's these pixel art like mini games that just kind of come in. Like a lot of it has this really throwbacky pixel style where like you collect these power-ups and they don't mean anything, but they give you, it's like this little ding, and then this music. Dude, it's such an amazing game. There's a lot of religion involved in it. Anti-pro, whatever. That's for you to figure out. I'm not going to give any spoilers. The devil is in it, and it's very cinematic. It's kind of like an Ari Aster or Yorgos Lanthimos movie where it's like this weird camera styles and like just very, very strange. The only bad thing I could think of, and I don't even know if it is because it felt good to me, is it's short. You could finish it in just over 4 hours, but it felt right. It didn't add any extra grinding or anything to it. But for $25, it's a 4-hour to 6-hour experience if you want to do everything. So, but I 100% recommend it, and I absolutely fell in love with this game.
Yeah, it looks trippy. I saw a newer, I guess probably the launch trailer for it, and they were showing some of those pixel 3D games. How do you transition into that if it's not a spoiler? Do you like have a dream sequence and you're doing that?
Basically, yeah, absolutely. It's just kind of like a memory or something like that. So yeah, but there are definitely weird added things that don't fit like in any style of video game, but in this it works because it's stylish and it's different. But like, you know, if you're a fan of video games and all of a sudden there's like this weird pixely thing that happens and it's like just but it fits, it works, everything works in this. It's a fantastic game. And I will point out that I played it entirely on the Steam Deck. Definitely. So it's not Steam Deck verified or whatever. They said they're working on a handheld version for the Steam Deck, but it worked great. If you have issues with low frame rate, wait or play it on, either on console when it comes out or on PC. I will say that because there were times where it dropped to like 12 frames. You know, it hindered at certain parts, but entirely playable on the Steam Deck. I absolutely didn't have any issues other than frame rate. But yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. I'll probably play it again. It was short and weird, and I like it. I like my games like I like my women, short and weird, and nuns. All right. Well, that is it for our new releases from last week. You got anything else?
No,
Did we miss anything? All right, that's it. Let's talk about our news of the week. All right, let's kick things off with our subscription service roundup. We got some announcements from PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. The PlayStation Plus monthly games for May were announced, and they are EA Sports FC 24, and also Ghost Runner 2, Tunic, and Destiny 2 Lightfall are all coming May 7th to the PlayStation Plus subscribers out there. Some great games here. I think all of them are great I'm not going to play FC 24. That's not my thing. Yeah. But Ghost Runner, great game. Tunic is a fantastic, way harder than I ever thought it would be when I started playing it. It's kind of like a Souls-like. And then Destiny. If anybody's still playing Destiny, get back in there with Lightfall.
Yes, this is strange. I thought Destiny 2 was a free-to-play game, so maybe not the DLCs, though?
Right. I think that's what it is, yeah. I think the main game is, and then you got to pay for all the DLCs. So, yeah, Ghost Runner is a fantastic game. If you haven't played the first one, you're not going to miss anything with the second one. So, yeah, good stuff there. And then Game Pass games for May are Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, came out May 2nd. Kona 2 Broom comes out May 7th. Little Kitty Big City, it's a day one game available on May 9th. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons comes out May 14th. And then Star Wars Jedi Survivor was released last week. Just kind of popped up on Game Pass through the EA Play thing. So yeah, some good stuff there. I'm hyped. I'm way more excited than I really probably should be for Little Kitty Big City.
Right. Yeah, I am too.
It looks great. It's like we talked about it when this announced. I don't know. We talked about it at some point, but
yeah, a week or two ago. It's kind of like what is it, Untitled Goose Game meets Stray?
Yeah, basically, that's a great description. So it looks good. I showed my son the trailer, and he's very hyped for it as well. So some good games coming out to the subscription services this month. All right, and while we're talking about Xbox, they recently had a showcase, IGN XID at Xbox Digital Showcase. A lot of trailers, a lot of really interesting trailers. So instead of talking about all of them, let's do our Gaming News Weekly top 5 of the week. Top 5. It's a top 5. Top 5. So you and I picked our 10 favorites. We did like a combination of all of them, broke it down to our final 5, our top 5 favorite games shown at the Xbox Digital Showcase. And they are Starting with number 5, Key Locker. This game is a turn-based rhythm JRPG, and it looks unlike anything I've ever played before.
Yeah,
It looks
inspired by
fantastic.
inspired by the Mario and Luigi RPG series, but
Right,
it
yes.
looks nothing like that. You wouldn't guess it because it's like
No.
cyberpunk style.
Exactly, but I think it's the same like turn-based gameplay, but this one has
Yeah,
rhythm sections added where you have to like move with whatever the music, and the music in the trailer was fantastic. I was popping my head. I was getting into it. So yeah, that game was fantastic, or it looks fantastic. Number 4, Promise Mascot Agency. Now this game, dude, as soon as I saw this, man, I was like smiling from the first time they showed it. It looks kind of like a Yakuza game,
yeah, exactly.
but instead, like you got moved into some mascot company where you have to recruit mascots, and then they start showing these mascots, and the first one you see is Pinky, and it's like, I don't know, was it a finger? Was it a pinky? Was it a
I think
toe?
so. I think
It
he's got
was,
like a toenail on its head or something.
yeah, so it's either like a toe or whatever. Maybe it's the pinky toe. Anyways, it's just a mascot of a severed toe, and and then you start seeing like this weird block of tofu, and then you start seeing like all these different strange mascots. It looks like a super creepy, I don't know, like Pokemon, where you got to catch all these strange, creepy looking mascots. And, I don't know what the actual story is then. But then you're driving along in this truck, and the toe is like shooting out missiles. Um, I don't know. But it's from the same people that did Paradise Killer, is what I was reading. So, yeah, I'm excited. The only downside to this one says it's coming 2025. So
Mm.
it's a ways off. I think that was the only one that was like outside of this year. All right, number 3, Jackbox Naughty Pack. This was a big surprise and also a little weird. I don't know what this is going to be. The trailer didn't show anything except like a vibrating box.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Have you played a lot of the other party packs?
Yeah, I think I own all of them, maybe minus
Gotcha.
one. So yeah,
I'm up to like 6, but I think there might be like a 7, 8, and 9 out already, or maybe even
yeah,
a 10. 'Cause it's almost like a yearly release. But what's funny is they usually just devolve into adult themes anyway when you're playing on
right.
Twitch or playing with people in the living room.
Yeah, I've never played one that wasn't like, very adult. So I don't know what this is going to be. And it worries me a little if they go too heavy handed on it and they force us to talk about like adult things that we don't
Yeah.
want. But I'm very intrigued. I want to see what the games are going to be, what makes this M rated.
Yeah, and I guess there's going to be like 5 mini games in the pack, and they'll have the information about what those are going to be coming up on their website.
Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm excited to find out more. Um, Number 2, Farah the Sundered Tribes. This one. So I went into the trailer. I'm like, oh, here we go, another one of these games.
The Breath of the Wild ripoff, kind of.
Right? It kind of looks a little, because it's the co-op survival game. It looks a little Pale Worldy, but then it shows the traversal, and it's this aerial based game where most of the time you're flying, and in addition to that you have like this, I don't know, like a grappling hook type thing that you can use to fly faster or like pull yourself towards stuff. And then they start showing these creatures that you're living in this aerial world with these sky whales, and then you go down and you're attacking this giant monster where you have to like climb up the side of it and do these attacks with your friends. And in the trailer, the guy talks about, I wanted this egg. So while they were battling the mother, I went and stole the egg to then, incubate it and have it as a member of your battle party or whatever. So it sounds awesome. It really sounds like it's just hitting all those things. And again, it's one of those things where like before Pale World was going out, I'm like, this sounds like it's doing a lot, Pale World. And I get that same feeling from this. But knowing now that Pale World was able to pull it off, I have a lot more hope for Farah the Sundered Tribe. But yeah, I want to see more. I'm really excited to see more of the characters, more of what you can do in the game, any abilities, and that sort of thing. So that one, very hyped for it. And then our number one, Stampede Racing Royale, was our number one pick for this one. And has there ever been a racing battle royale before this?
Isn't there a racing one on Fortnite? But I don't know if it's battle royale. I think it's fewer players. Like,
Yes, yeah. So there is like the Rocket League, the Rocket Racing, and that's just regular
yeah.
racing. So that's
Gotcha.
just you want to be first, second, or third, or whatever, and it's just like regular. I don't know how this one's gonna do it as far as like is the field is it gonna shrink as you go? So you play a race and then it's like down to 30, down to 20. Like I don't know, but it looks like it's like a Mario Kart style kart racing game. But it starts with 60 players playing on the race, and you got missiles and goo you shoot out and stuff like that. There's tons of maps, over 400 customizable items. Like all the characters in it looked different. There was like a T-Rex looking thing, and like so it looked fun, and it looked silly, and it looked like a great kart racer.
Yeah, I think it's got everything going for it that can make it, this year's Fall Guys or one of those games that just kind of takes over for a while.
Right. It gave me some Fall Guys vibes, like looking at the characters and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm excited to see more about this one. There's a game preview on Xbox this summer. So hopefully, I don't know if it'll be coming to. I feel like all of these are probably going to come to Game Pass because that's their thing. They put everything out of Game Pass. Now, there were some that specifically said coming to Game Pass. This was not one of them, but I'm assuming it probably will, especially that game preview. I feel like they do that a lot with them. So, yeah, that was our top 5. Some honorable mentions. You had as your number 2 pick, you had what
Pal
was
World,
it? Pal World. So they did talk about Pal World, 4 new pals coming. And in the trailer, they show like the person using like a flamethrower, which, that's not, that was always that other pal's job is to do the flamethrower. So maybe some new weapons and that sort of thing. And then my second pick that didn't make it was Centum, which is this like super crazy looking pixel art game that like it starts out, it looks like like you have to escape this room, but then it changes and it's like you're in the game and dude, it looked crazy. But yeah, that one was my other big pick. So yeah, a lot of fantastic indie games being mentioned during this one. So yeah, if there's a bunch more that we're not, like 33 Immortals, there's a beta coming out. They announced that this game called Hangry, where you like they call it a snack and slash game. Vampire Survivors has some DLC coming, another trailer for Lost Records. So a lot of really great stuff in there. We covered most everything. Anything that you really needed to know, we talked about it, and that's what we do here. You know what I'm saying?
You're welcome.
Exactly. But yeah, that was our top 5 for this week. Now they also announced there's going to be the next big Xbox showcase was announced, and it's going to be June 9th. Now this one will also be followed by Redacted, and it's going to be a deep dive into Redacted, which we know is the next Call of Duty. So we'll have some
Redacted certainly looks like some Black Ops graphics.
It does. It really does. But yeah, then after looking at this, like June 9th, the day before that, it's the Future Games Showcase. Their summer showcase is on June 8th. And then the day before that, on June 7th, Summer Game Fest. So that's going to be a good weekend. We're going to have a lot to talk about that next week, man. So, clear your schedule. And then in August, THQ Nordic announced they're going to do a showcase August 2nd. So we'll see what they have to offer. They always have some fun stuff up their sleeve. So yeah, we're getting into the summertime showcases. Get us all hyped for There's some new games coming out. So you gotta beat Hell Let Loose. That's your
Oh yeah.
goal. You gotta beat the game so you can move on to whatever the next big thing is.
Yep, I'm working on it.
All right. All right, next up, Todd Howard, the developer from Bethesda, sat down with Kind of Funny Games and had a lot to talk about. It was a great interview, about an hour-long interview. If you're a fan of Bethesda, a fan of Todd Howard, I recommend going to listening to it. But we'll talk about some bullet points. He talks mainly about he's been going around doing interviews talking about the show Fallout, and what to expect from that and what that was all about. I did finally finish it. I'm not going to get any spoilers, but 2 thumbs up, dude. Amazing show. I'm very much looking forward to season 2. Yeah, I love that they were able to tell their own story in the Fallout world.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well made. So yeah, he's talking about the show, and like one of the things he talks about is that how they're only going to do it in America. There's not going to be a Canadian. It's not going to go to Canada or London like that mod or whatever. Just because he feels like that it's that kind of retro Americana is such a big part of Fallout in the series that it makes sense in these areas more than other areas. So that was one of the things he did talk about, which I believe too. I think especially when you're talking about nuclear war and that sort of thing, keep it at home. And the Fallout, the vault, and that sort of thing, and all the stuff that's in them, is very much that Americana vibe. So I feel like it makes sense.
Although, I mean, I would love to see like what the Soviet answer to the
Oh,
vault
absolutely.
systems were.
Absolutely, like the different versions of them in each place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but you don't want to you piss off somebody because it's all like so over the top, everything, all the stereotypes and that sort of thing. But yeah, and then he goes into talking about Starfield and talks a lot about what they expected from Starfield when it was released, and kind of the response that Starfield got. And they were expecting these huge scores, and it was very divisive. One thing he did say, a quote, he said, "Obviously we had people who loved the game both on the review side and people who liked it less." Which it's at an 83 on Metacritic, which I feel like is a great score. But he said, "Look, that's great. I don't ever want to be in a world where 83 is not a great place to be in terms of critical reception, particularly in a year where there are so many amazing games that come out." And he also said it's a new IP, so they're going to be doing some things differently than they've done before. So yeah, I thought when he started talking about all this stuff, like 83 is great. I remember like when we talked about it initially, like thinking that like it was way worse than that. I don't know if it came up in score or what, but like 83, man, that's a great score. So it's funny. Did you play Starfield?
No, I've yet to do that.
Yeah, you got to get in there, man. Because I don't think I'm gonna. I don't know. It's not my thing. I'm not. I don't get into those.
Yeah,
but
I'm into those. I mean, like the Bethesda games, like Skyrim and stuff like that. I'm usually into them, so it's kind of surprising. But something about that launch and the criticisms that came out about it just kind of soiled it for me. So
right.
I don't know. I need to. I really need to.
Yeah. And it's weird because I've heard people say, it's their game of the year, and they, it's their favorite. I've heard people say it's their favorite Bethesda game. But then on the other side, like all that really resonates is like the criticism. So it's really strange looking back on it. But looking ahead, he did talk about there's going to be a significant update to the game coming soon, and then the Shattered Space expansion. And that is going to be a lot about customizing your ship and ship building and stuff like that. So I'm expecting we'll probably hear more about that at that showcase in June. I feel like that's probably a good time. We'll see that come out. So stuff coming out for Starfield. He did talk about his future, saying that he doesn't ever want to retire from games, but that Elder Scrolls 6 might be his last game just because of how long it takes them to create a game and put out a new Bethesda game. So yeah, so we'll see what a world without Todd Howard over there at Bethesda is. Um, One thing I did find very interesting, he talks about how um, we always hear about the Bethesda engine, the Fallout, and how it's always a little buggy, a little janky. And he
Yeah.
said that if there's a visual bug in the game that exists, a visual hiccup, and it's not serious, they just leave it and focus more on the bugs that have an effect on the actual gameplay. Which I was just like, it's pretty crazy that they're just like, yeah, we don't worry about those. Well, we
Yeah.
got enough on our plate that we don't need to deal
Yeah.
with those. So I
I
guess
saw a
now,
little bit of a meme going around that the person says, "I watched the Fallout series. It was so unrealistic. It was a Bethesda title, and the thing didn't crash once."
I love it. And then he talks about how they are there's the Bethesda right now. Bethesda Softworks is split into roughly 5 teams working on various projects, including Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, mobile games, and then a team that works on external projects and co-developments. So, yeah, they got a lot going on over there at Bethesda. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Bethesda or Todd Howard, go listen to the Kind of Funny interview. There's a lot of stuff, and he speaks pretty candidly. So, great interview. All right, 2 weeks ago, we talked about layoffs affecting Take-Two Interactive. We got some more info on that and what it affected. So, 2 studios have closed. Roll7, they were known for Ali Ali and Roller Drome. Those, they completely shut down. And then Intercept, they were behind the Kerbal Space Program 2. Both show plans to completely shutter those studios. Oh yeah, and then Bloomberg also reported that Private Division, Take-Two's like independent studio label, they are being affected by layoffs as well. With Bloomberg saying that a vast majority of the label's teams in Seattle, New York, Las Vegas, and Munich have been let go. So the indie game division took a big hit over there at Take-Two. What do you think of this?
It's ridiculous. I mean, Take Two is like the largest gaming company in the world, probably. I mean, maybe technically Apple or something is, but all that money from a decade of GTA 5 about to drop
Right.
GTA 6 and make just a shitload of money. This is just one of those choices where this needs to look good on paper and their stock prices and quarterly it's all for appearances and things like that. And it's ridiculous that the system works this way. And
Mm-hmm.
these are people's jobs,
Right.
and all of their hard work down the drain.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like Ali Ali and Roller Drome were both like, I think successes when they were released. So, I don't know. But yeah, it sucks. Hopefully the people that were let go will land on their feet. And we'll see what happens with Take-Two next. I think they really need GTA to be bigger than they even expect. It needs to be monumental. So we'll see what happens there. And then on the other side of this whole thing, every week we're talking about layoffs, closures, and that sort of thing. Hasbro, they're in there $1 billion invested into video game creation right now, talking about how they're all in. They're trying to make something happen in the world of video games, and some interesting stuff. So this was an article with GamesIndustry.biz, and they talked to Dan Ayub. He's the head of the digital product development over at Hasbro. And he's talking about, they had a huge year last year with Baldur's Gate 3 and Monopoly Go. Now, both of those were created outside of Hasbro. So now they want to bring in, internally create games that are going to have the same level of success. And he talks about some of the stuff that they're working on. They have $1 billion currently invested in game creation. They have 4 AAA studios going right now. Atomic Arcade working on a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe game that Ayub says it's not your daddy's G.I. Joe. Montreal-based Invoke Studios is working on a Dungeons & Dragons game. Austin, Texas-based Skeleton Key is doing something spooky. And then Archetype is where BioWare veteran Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic lead designer James Olen is working on a new franchise called Exodus. So all interesting sounding things. Now you talk about like a follow-up to Baldur's Gate, like any new Dungeons and Dragons game. And I was just talking about this recently with a friend of mine who, big fan of Baldur's Gate. Like you can't follow it up. There's no
Right.
way to follow that game up.
Probably part of
So,
the reason why Larian says they're not even going to try.
right. Yeah, so I'm saying like if you want to make it like another D&D game, you can't make another CRPG because that's been done, it's been perfected. Anything that comes next is going to be an inferior product. So you got to think outside that box, How do you make Dungeons and Dragons still a great game but not on that level? I don't know what
Yeah.
the answer is.
The answer is dating sim.
Yeah, dude. I'd be down with that. Or a deck builder. Give me like a D&D dating sim deck builder.
But you're right. I mean, they've already had multiple MMOs and adventure survival games and things like that in the D&D universe. So what's left on the table besides, dating sim? Or
right?
maybe we'll get like a first-person shooter against D&D monsters.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so I don't know what that's going to be. A few more quotes that I thought were interesting. He says, one of the great things we took from the success of Baldur's Gate 3 is that people really, really like a great, well-executed D&D game, so we've got something like that. And with Snake Eyes, well, it's not a new IP, it's hopefully going to be a shot in the arm to the G.I. Joe franchise, and we could do some new things and express it in different ways in video games than we have traditionally. Oh, and then he's talking about the new IP Exodus, and he says, what we're trying to do there is have the tail wag the dog a little bit and have things go in the other direction for the company, which would be something new where we could create a new IP through video games and then take advantage of the size and scale of Hasbro to do other things with it as well. So they're hoping that this Exodus is going to be big enough to create board games or action figures or whatever with that. So that's interesting too. That's an interesting take on it, trying to create that world first. So
This is kind of crazy because just today, during lunch, to have something playing on the TV while I was having that, I watched this episode of the Games That Made Us, I think is what it's called, or the Toys That Made Us,
sure.
on Hulu, and it was the Hasbro and Mattel sort of come up story, and it's all going full circle because after like Mr. Potato Head, GI Joe was their big huge seller. So I got to see that cool story behind like how did that come up, how was it perceived, and here we are talking about how they're getting into the games industry to revitalize that.
I think it could be. I mean, there's enough great characters and lore in the GI Joe world, and I think they are sitting on a gold mine if they could create a game good enough that could showcase that. So we'll see. Hopefully, they're not doing games of service style live service games with this. But yeah, there's a lot of potential in Hasbro to create something good. And one thing that Ayub said that I enjoyed is that they're focusing on, to create these games good, they're focusing on leadership and having the right people in place to help, create this work culture. And then that they're just letting them take as much time as they need. Just let them cook and just create games that are good. They have no, they have a large amount of money invested in this, but they're not worried about right now budgets or time constraints and that sort of thing. And that's, as we saw with Larian with Baldur's Gate, that like it took a long time to create that, and it paid off. So hopefully, whatever they do next can kind of be the same thing. So, but we'll see. I'm excited to see what Hasbro, has in store. Maybe is Mr. Potato Head, is that Hasbro still?
Yeah.
Can we get a Mr. Potato Head game?
I hope so. It'd be a very simple game, probably, but
yeah, I would probably be really good at it. You just put the
there's
eyes
a Mrs.
where the
Potato
eyes
Head,
go.
so yeah,
The
we can have a
sequel.
dating sim.
Oh, okay, that too. Yeah, date the potato heads. I like that. I like that you're focused entirely on dating sims. This is great. This is the new full clip that I really enjoy. It's all about dating sims from here on out.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that is it for this week's news. You got anything else you want to talk about? Anything to add?
Nope, think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for checking out this week's Gaming News Weekly. Please follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground. You can check out full clips pages at GameFAQs, GameFAX. This show is out every Monday, like clockwork. Bam, you can find it there. You can watch all the cool trailers that we've been talking about. Or, if you don't got time for that and you're on the go, you can listen to the podcast version anywhere podcasts are found. Just type in GNW and you will get this show. You click to subscribe, and every Monday morning it's there waiting for you on your way to work, to the gym. You could just, listen about video games. And then when you get home, you can play those video games. And your life is 100% video games like I am, like this cool guy. And then, well, you still can follow us on TikTok. We're posting daily content over there, having discussions about games and that sort of thing. And I'll post an occasional thing on Instagram. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.